Skidoosh. Wagwan. So the other day I was reflecting, and one of the things that stood out to me, and I'm glad I'm working on or have increased my awareness of, is my ability to hold a grudge. Oof. And yes, by holding a grudge, I mean getting offended by someone and then having feelings of resentment towards a person for an extended period of time. I guess in my school days, we always think back in our school days, we had to wear uniforms. So this was one of the days where you could wear your own clothes. This was in the teenage years. So, you know, that style is just dodgy. Just looking back on it now, I'm talking plimsolls, like Daps and chinos and a Hollister t-shirt.
For just $2 a month, you can sponsor this poor child.
If you were like similar to my age, you remember that style. That was like the peak of fashion. But walking in my own clothes, rectangular style table, two of my friends at the end, two other friends close to this side. My seat was close to these two people. So as I walk in, guy says, nice shoes. And I'm like, thanks. And then he starts like laughing. So in my mind, I know he's just taking the piss. Goodness me. But I took it so deep. That like little smile and that mocking look. Held on to that anger for a solid month. I walked into the class each day. I would say hi to the three other people and just ignore him. I just give him evils for a month straight. Obviously, I'm much younger back then, so my mind is different. I'm not as aware of my emotions. All the hormones have flowed through me, so I guess I'm a bit of a mess. Was it 2 for 1 at the homeless shelter? The issue is, I would have similar patterns of behavior, even into my 20s. People who really know me, especially my family, knew I had this really pernicious trait, as in it's kind of harmful to me in a very subtle way, but I'm not realizing it. So, in the spirit of growth, I thought I would share with you what I have done to get out of this dodgy habit. If you really think about it, they could have said something in a truly joking manner and I'm the one taking it to heart. And instead of talking about the issue with the person who I believe has offended me,
vengeance will be mine.
I'm holding on to this resentment, just letting it boil over, planning out some revenge plan like a little freak.
I shall kidnap his brother, marry his mother, become his father.
I would start to notice that these feelings of resentment would spill into other relationships. Like I would bring my baggage from one person to another group of people. So it's just me bringing out this negativity, super bitter for no concrete reason. No one really wants to be around a person like that. I'm very glad I've developed an awareness of my grudge holding behavior. And if you have those grudge holding behaviors, you're mostly hurting yourself. So a little side tangent. Language, I find, is a very informative realm. The word grudge comes from the old French word. The British pronunciation would be gruchier. The Kenyan pronunciation would be have the children eaten. The Chinese pronunciation would be, actually, I will not go there. I'm not trying to get cancelled yet. So the word grouchier means to grumble. This is related to the English word grouch. This is also in a complement with older English and German words that translate to cry out, to complain, to grumble, to wail. And I must say, those are terms a person does not want to be associated with. If you think of a person wailing, in my mind, I'm thinking of a whale-sized whale. Wailing the size of whales. Those are some large deers. So, grudges can only be good because they help you notice you're harboring some sort of negative feelings towards someone. And they can only be good after the fact, when the issue has been resolved. The middle portion is the meat in the sandwich. That made no sense. What I mean is, person A offends person B. Person B realizes he feels a little bit crappy due to person A. That's the only point when a grudge is useful. The noticing of the negative feeling. The meat in the sandwich is person B speaking to person A about the cause of offense. That's the resolution part. Lastly, person A and person B are now best friends forever, because sometimes when you resolve a grudge, they can actually bring you closer. Other things to consider when speaking to that person is not reasonable. And by reasonable, I mean the person is a vegetable. It could be, and in fact, I believe this is the best method to go forward, and it's how I wish to live my life. Look inside oneself. Really hope that echoes. I'm figuring out this editing as we go. I find it worthwhile to reflect on my own influence on the situation. Is there something that I could have done differently? For example, examine all those years ago being offended. Obviously, I have hindsight as a crutch to fall back. Is there anything I could have done differently? Yes, I could have reacted differently. Could have taken it as a joke, which I know is what it was intended to be. Another option, and I believe this is possibly one of the best things, and that is looking at it from the other person's point of view. Figure out the reasons why they did it. It could have been them trying to engage you in a friendly manner. If you can understand someone else's point of view, you have ticked off how to understand a human being.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human.
Another method, be in tune with your own emotions. There is substance when you can write down your feelings, leave them for a day or two, come back with a fresh mind, with a fresh perspective. You've slept, you've eaten, you've exercised. You come back with a different focal point on emotions, and you can examine where your head was at. You kind of write down your feelings, you go away, you come back. It's almost as if you left your feelings in a little notebook. Some would call this journaling, perhaps. Lastly, I guess I like to leave it at 4 points. Get over yourself. Life is too short. As Shakespeare famously said, he's quoting Shakespeare, so edgy, bro. There's nothing really bad or good, but thinking it makes it so. If you want, you can think yourself into a good mood. If you really want to. And I do this. Because let's say I wake up and I tell myself today is going to be a bad day. Throughout my day, things that stand out as bad will now pop up to me and reinforce the idea that today is in fact going to be a bad day. Wake up, I've got an ache in my leg, my car needs to be washed, the sun isn't out. Then these things just stay with me. I'm driving forward with a negative mood. Let's say I wake up and I say, today is going to be a wonderful day. Things that are wonderful start popping out. The simple fact that I woke up, the fact that it's raining, that's good for the plants. The fact that I have a bed, the fact that I have health, the fact I have a family, all these little things, the fact that I can sit here and record something. I found that great little insight from the book, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Highly recommend that book. It's one of these books that are recommended to like top level people, athletes, people who are successful. Give it to your friend, give it to your nan, give it to your mum. It'll help any person. Just get out their own line. To summarize, I find regulating my own mood much easier when I can recognize reasons I have this certain mood is due to my own perception, and it's the same for any. I'd rather put the onus on myself to improve as opposed to harbor negative feelings and resentment towards other people. It's much harder to change 10, 20, 30 people. It's easier to change yourself and then go out and try and change 10, 20, 30 people. And I must say, are they really your friends if they're not roasting you at least once a week? Sometimes you do be looking dusty, hella crust, and it is down to those people who care about you to point those things out. After all, we roast the ones we love.